Okay, it happens out there. People call us and they say, we need help choosing an agent and we are not in the area. For like people out of Sydney, what advice do we give them on how to choose a great agent? Stay tuned.
Good morning, guys. Friday Novak frenzy. Mark and I just sit here and have our normal Friday morning discussion, but we just invite you guys into it.
Yep.
That's pretty much what happens. But this morning we're talking
ensuite talk.
Ensuite.
When we're in the bathroom, I'm running in, Lisa's running out. It's the conversations we have.
Yeah, it's always
a lot of real estate.
Yeah, we do talk about a lot of real estate, that's for sure. We talk about other things as well, but we do talk about a lot of real estate. But talking about this morning, choosing an agent just across the board, but also choosing an agent out of area. We get asked a lot, but Mark had a mate of ours call up yesterday. The friend's got a $20 million property to sell. And he was just saying, hey, can you help him to choose an agent? Wasn't in an area that we sell in, but he was like, can you help him to choose an agent? There's a few different platforms these days. I want to talk about those as well, actually.
Yep.
Smart. You've got Local Agent Finder. There's a company called Which Real Estate, WHICH, not like witch with a broomstick. And then there's a few others, Open Agency. These guys will take a referral fee from the real estate agent, usually, and don't quote me on this, guys, but usually it's about a 20% referral fee that they're going to take from the agent. The vendor doesn't need to pay, but they get the luxury then of having these companies go, these are the 3 best agents in the area. These are the ones that we nominate that you use. That's one service. I do work with some of those guys, actually, I have to say. Often I'll get called up and they're like, we think that you're a great fit for this person. And that's great. I love that.
You get a bit of business from those guys.
Yeah, I love that. But if you don't want to do that and, you're moving away from that kind of platform, how do you choose? What advice did you give to your mate yesterday, Mark?
Well, my mate's in digital marketing. So he took a special attention towards the digital marketing campaign that was offered to that agent. And when it didn't look right, he was like, I need to dig deeper. So I think that what people do is they use their industry expertise or whatever their industry in to assess a real estate agent, which in some aspects is good, but not in all aspects.
Yeah.
So, like I guess if you're in farming and agriculture, you're going to be interviewing an agent different than if you're a stockbroker. So people use their skill set that they have to assess an agent, which is great, but there's sometimes other things to assess as well. So for instance, with me, the first question he asked is, he said, look, I've got a 50 grand campaign here. And I was like, oh shit.
50 grand?
50.
Sorry, marketing.
$50,000.
Wow.
And
wow.
So his mate, good friend, has come to him and said, dude, you do a lot of digital. What do you think of this? And he's like, got a good friend in real estate in Sydney. I'll have a chat with him and just put the barometer out there. Where his ears pricked up was my mate's in digital, and he's going like, there's going to be 6 grand dropped on a video, and there's going to be 20 grand dropped on Facebook.
Well, they're making a Hollywood production.
They're making a Hollywood production.
Wow.
So he's like, that doesn't sound right. And in the beginning of the conversation, I said, for instance, me personally, for someone who's spending 20 to 22 million, I would focus my money probably on a corporate social media site like LinkedIn, right? But I still wouldn't be spending 20 grand. And I said, most importantly, there's a process I would do before any of this.
Okay, so this is the marketing aspect. Now, this is quite an interesting conversation because I have actually listed a very, very expensive property in that similar caliber. Stay tuned, guys. We have had a marketing discussion over the last couple of days, and I didn't, I gave my vendors all the different options. And then I've given them all of my recommendations. And the one thing that my lovely vendors said was, we don't want the professional video, which FYI was not $6,000. It was to the tune of about $2,500. And we use a phenomenal company when we do those videos called Fortum Media.
Ooh,
they're
really
amazing,
good.
These guys, amazing. So, you know, but it was funny what these vendors were saying about what they didn't want. And my vendor had said to me, I still love print press. And I have to agree with him. We do too. Hence why we bring out a magazine every single week with all of our properties in it.
So one in the door there.
One in the door.
Just
hang on, let me grab it.
Shameless plug.
There it is.
Oh,
there.
Look at that. Look at all the properties we have for sale.
Off topic here, but we ended up bringing out our own property magazine that we bring out every week. It's a near impossible feat. Lisa Glynn from our office does a phenomenal job. She used to be in print press, so has got some incredible contacts. But we bring this out every single week. And these particular vendors said, I love print press. Can we see what we can do about getting into the Australian and some of these other publications? But a 50 grand campaign, I can tell you now, the campaign that I put together came to the tune of approximately $12,000 to $15,000. Now that was all the bells and whistles, guys. That was everything. That was social media we don't charge for. Where we've obviously built a significant platform there, but that was realestate.com domain. Amazing photographies. That was day and night and drone and dusk and, you know, la. 2 signboards. This particular property is a dual street access, and the list just goes on and on. You were getting a significant amount.
How does my mate choose an agent?
Okay. How
does my mate choose an agent? So, you know what I said to him? I said, look, if this guy's selling a $22 million property, this agent, so my mate's choosing an agent out of state.
Can I just say, guys, the same rule applies whether you're selling a $500,000 property, a $2 million property, or a $20 million property. The same rule's going to apply.
So I said, you know what? You don't have to cut a check for 50 grand and see the agent's performance. I said, give your property to the agent, give him professional photography, give him brochure, give him signboard, see how he performs with the database. It's almost $0. It's almost no cost. So I said, see how he goes. So if he's genuinely doing deals like that in that area and he generally knows what he's doing, he's got buyers on the database, give him your house. See how he performs for a week. See how he performs for 2 weeks. And if it feels good, then put the pedal to the metal with doing more marketing like realestate.com domain, take it the next level. But I said, you don't necessarily have to commit 50 G's of your money and 3 months of your time and then potentially get the agent wrong.
Well, what if it's a disaster?
Yeah.
What if it's a disaster? How many times, guys, have I done what I call the cleanup after another agent where, you know, a vendor will call me. I'm actually going to an appraisal today at 2:00. These guys were on the market with another agent and they'd spent $12,000 on a $2.5 million property and they had a horrendous experience. The agent signed them up and forgot to tell them that they were going away on a holiday for 2 weeks, told them the market was quiet. The market was the polar opposite. They missed a great market.
Yes.
And they're down the tube and they're stuck in an agreement. They're actually out of it now. So, you know, I'll be coming along with some very, very helpful advice for them. In fact, the first thing I've said to them is, I don't want any money from you guys for marketing. Let's see what we can do here to help you guys. It's about then building up the trust with them
Backing
because
yourself.
they feel completely betrayed, Mark. Okay, so let's get back to how do you choose an agent?
Secret shopper. Luke reckons secret shopper. Go to their open houses.
Funny you say that, Luke. Funny you say that. I had a lovely young couple come through a property of mine a couple of weeks ago. I like to think that we have we host great open homes. They're always very upbeat. I'm always chatting with everyone. You guys might find that surprising. And they were secret shoppers. When I called them back to ask them, you know, their feedback on the property, they said, actually, we just want to be upfront. We're shopping around. We've got 2 properties to sell. Yeah.
So do the secret shopper. So how does my mate choose an agent. So again, I said, you know what else I said to him? I said, see who's selling the stuff in the area. Doesn't necessarily mean,
yes,
but like if they're doing deals and they're doing good, honest deals in the area, they're sort of got to be good. So realestate.com, domain.
Well, I just wanted to show you guys
range
something.
of what you're selling, suss it out,
Yeah,
and then have a look around. There'll be 2 or 3 people that'll be like doing the deals. Get them in.
Guys, I want to say something about our industry. Real estate is a very, very transparent industry. There aren't many industries around like real estate where you can get online and you can actually see the deals that an agent is doing. So as agents, if we're coming in and saying, yeah, we sell tons in DY, you can go online and you can actually verify that for yourself. Realestate.com, I just want to show you guys because I've jumped on here now. Whether or not you have sold the property on realestate.com or not, can't get a good clear focus of that.
You need me to do this, Leslie.
I do.
Allow me to put it over my face.
Thank you. That's better. Look at that. Took the blurriness out of it.
Yeah.
So realestate.com, whether or not you have sold the property on realestate.com, so if you sold it off market, pre-market, whatever it is, these guys will allow you to put the solds on there, which is great. You can go online. There's a little tab on there and it says agents. You can click on that and then you can type in the area. You can pop a suburb in or you can actually type in a whole area. So for instance, you can do Northern Beaches, which was what I did in that case. Big area, right? You could put in eastern suburbs. It will show you who are the agents in order that are selling the most amount of property. They're all there. The other great thing is the reviews are a very important part in our industry. They have to be verified. So realestate.com or whoever the review platform is will verify that that agent sold that property to that vendor, la, la, la. The reviews are very important. If you start to see a pattern of people saying, Lisa was great, but she didn't turn up to the open home, something along those lines, if you start to see those patterns, I think you can safely say that's going to be the kind of agent you're dealing with.
And there's also you. And I do believe you're going into business with this person for a short period. And I think you do you. So, you will see who you'll resonate with when you're selecting your real estate agent as well. And that's really important. I don't care if that person's number one in my core area. Get through those 3 agents.
Actually, most vendors don't. Do you know that?
What?
Most vendors don't.
Don't what?
Care if the agent's number one for collecting reviews, number one for the real estate awards, number one for the last 20 years. Most vendors don't care.
It's got to sort of sit in here with you as well. Resonate like, yep, good guy, really get along. Because you're really a team for that period. So that's how my mate can choose an agent.
Real estate portals, as I said, realestate.com, that's a big one. You can go on there whether or not the property was sold. Check out what the agent's doing, the volumes, what are the vendors saying about that agent. Very important. The digital interview is so important. These days, to some extent, most agents are on social media. So if you've got an agent that's saying...
I do social media.
Oh, yeah, I do a ton of social media. You can just get online and you can have a look for yourself.
Yep. If you see one post a week, you're in trouble.
Absolutely. And Luke, as you said, turning up to opens. So, I like to...
belly to belly.
I like to go to my own open homes. That's just how I am. If the agent is saying, yeah, absolutely, I do my opens, and you've turned up once or twice and they weren't there, alarm bells need to be ringing. Communication.
Can I just clarify that?
Yep.
There are some weapon agents out there that have 30 properties listed and they have 30 open houses for that property on a Saturday. Very rare animal, but that's what you're talking about. You list a lot and you attend a lot. You actually generally attend all your opens.
Correct. Communication's a really big thing as well. I've had vendors who have texted me at 10 o'clock at night and said, Lisa, sorry to text you this late. Would we be able to talk, please, in the morning? Very interested in getting an appraisal from you. And I offer one of the models that I offer in my team is speed to service. It's really important. I will always get back to people within an hour. And why is it important? A, because all vendors want communication.
Yep.
All vendors do. But that also is an indication as to how that agent is going to treat your buyers.
Yep.
Very important. Very important.
Anything else you want to talk about in Friday Frenzy?
Can I also just say agents are great referrers of other agents? That's another really, really big one. Well, look at your mate has contacted you. You're an agent.
To say, what
who do you know?
Yeah. And I helped him. You know what I mean? So it was good advice we shared.
Yeah. I get, again, a lot of referrals from other agents and vice versa. I give a lot of referrals.
Massive.
I love referring great people.
Yes.
I love referring great people. So always reach out if you need a bit of help there, guys.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know. Anything else on Friday? How'd your week go?
Oh, really, really, really busy. Probably one of the busiest weeks I've had this whole year. Lots of phenomenal stock coming on. And no, guys, it's not the mortgage cliff. It's just the nature of where we're at.
Yep.
Coming into July, people are starting to think spring and all that kind of stuff. But I've got some phenomenal stock coming on. Yep. I really do. Yeah, very excited to launch it.
Michelle, do you remember when we talked about it on TikTok, how that went viral, the Instagram? We had a guy. So we've had the We Never Sleep campaign running since the beginning of our office. And what Michelle's talking about is we had a guy, two drunk guys go up to our sign at night and call our office and speak to an agent.
2 in the morning.
At 2 in the morning. And it just went viral, so it was pretty funny.
Well, they weren't expecting someone from the office was going to answer, and just as they went to hang up, someone answered.
You're going, oh, they never sleep, they're sleeping now, and the next thing you go, hello?
It was so funny.
If we staged
the TikTok video went far. We must find it, actually. It did go viral. There was some talk about, let me just grab my phone for 1 second. There was some talk, guys, about the market going up 9%. I saw it in the media yesterday. This one here, 9%. That's how much Sydney property prices are predicted to increase by June of next year.
Financial Review, good source.
There you go. Now, I put this out onto my story asking for comments.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like a property for $1 million, 90 grand in a year, while interest rates have gone up 12 times.
Well,
it's amazing.
That's where we're at now in June of this year, Mark. June of next year, they could have come right down.
I am comfortable backing that number, though, having said that.
I reckon they're going to go up more. Yeah, I do. I reckon they're going to go up more because I reckon by next year in June, interest rates will have come down significantly. We tend to follow the patterns of what's going on globally. And when you look at what's going on globally, interest rates have come down, and that's had a very positive effect on those markets. Now, I think it's going to affect different markets differently, as in price brackets, because I think that the lower end of the market is going to get stimulated by the first home buyer incentive. I've got a lot of first home buyers back in the market, and that stock's hard to get at the moment. It's weird. 1 and 2 bedroom apartments.
I think, this is my take, we constantly, and this is only a new ideal, whatever this week, our real estate agents are constantly looking at the asset and the asset class.
Yeah.
And how that's going to perform, or the suburb, or the region, and how that's going to perform. Most importantly, I think you've got to look at the profile of the property owner to see how that property is going to perform.
Great.
It sounds weird.
Yep.
But if you look at, there are certain parts, and using Sydney as an example, there are certain parts of Sydney where the owners are living from day to day. Those properties will struggle to perform well. There are some parts of Sydney where the owners are struggling day to day, but they plan, 5 years by 5 years at a time. They're long-term planners with their cash flow, and those people, those properties will maybe even do well, and will forge ahead. So if you're trying to work out what the property market's going to do, work out the profile of the owners of those properties.
good. That's smart. I do also just want to say,
What'd you
though,
say?
I said that's good, that's smart.
I thought that's what you said.
I do want to say the high-end luxury market,
How do they think?
this is a very, very different market.
Long
Again, when
term.
I'm talking about these micro markets, right now we are seeing larger than usual prices for a lot of these high-end properties.
Whopper
Big prices.
Yes.
We did an interview, you guys will remember, last week with Delene Lewis. Delene deals a lot is a phenomenal Eastern Suburbs agent. She also appears on Lux listings, but she's a great barometer as to what's going on with that market.
Check it out on our socials.
Yeah, check that out. But I do believe that end of the market is performing really, really well right now. I don't know how that's going to look in June of next year.
They're long-term thinkers, those
Yeah.
property owners.
Yeah, because
You know what
I
mean?
actually think that a lot of people are going to go, well, you know what? If you can get $20 million for that property, that's what I want. I'd sell at that price now. And I think a lot of those vendors will start catching on. I think we're probably going to see a little bit more of that stock coming on because of these massive property prices. Very different market. And again, those buyers at that level, believe it or not, a lot of them are cash buyers. It's crazy, but it's true. So interest rates are just not affecting them. Amazing. All right, I think that's a show, Mark.
That's a show. You did really,
Thanks, Luke. I love all your comments.
You did really well today. Thanks for letting me talk almost as much as you.
Pleasure.
All property up next year.
All property up next year. Yep.
I'll support that.
I reckon up more than 9.
Bye.
See ya.
There we go.